Recently, perhaps you've heard a spate of presentations, YouTube videos, read some articles claiming Jesus, he's a leftist.
I wrote about this in my book. Jesus was so communist, he'd make Karl Marx blush. Jesus is massively liberal.
Was Jesus a theological liberal? Was he a social liberal? To shoot a big old hole in that claim, here we go. Jesus honored God. The left hates God. That should be an end to it, shouldn't it? Historically, how have people behaved on the left? And how did Jesus behave in regard to God? It's very clear. One honored God, the other doesn't. From Robin Shoemaker, the position on God taken by atheist leaders of the historic left are diametrically opposed to Christ. Perusing Karl Marx's feelings on Christianity or reading Dennis Diderot's statement, get ready for this, men will never be free until the last king is strangled with the entrails of the last priest. Charming, are just the tip of the iceberg examples of a movement that despises God and his authority. Forget about the French Revolution. Let's fast forward to a political party today who doesn't like the Pledge of Allegiance, who doesn't pray before their conventions, or who on the floor of the United States Congress informs the world that the views of God are of no interest to this Congress.
What any religious tradition ascribes as God's will is no concern of this Congress.
That pretty much summarizes the view's attitude toward God. What was the attitude of Jesus toward the Lord? He loved the Lord. He honored the Father. He was obedient to him. He pointed others to be obedient to him and to love him. The left, low view of God. Jesus, high view. How could Jesus on this issue alone possibly be a leftist? But there's more. Number 2, Jesus esteemed Scripture. The left mocks the Bible. Jesus said Scripture cannot be broken, that it is divinely authoritative, imperishable, historically accurate, truth, and that it has ultimate supremacy. Jesus was a biblicist with a high view of Scripture. The left, we really need to read this, one of the left's godfathers, Voltaire, and his lover, Émilie du Châtelet, concluded their formal examination of the Bible by saying it was nonsense. They called Jesus' Sermon on the Mount trite, ridiculous, absurd, and his resurrection comedy. The godfather of the liberal left hated the Bible, mocked Scripture so much he couldn't even see the beauty of the Sermon on the Mount. Come on, even if you are a rank unbeliever, you have to read the greatest sermon ever preached and recognize its value. Simply from a literary standpoint, it is absolutely gorgeous. Not to the left. Number 3, Jesus embraced truth. The left embraces post-truth. Being full of grace and truth was Jesus. He is the truth in his essence and came to testify of the truth, asking the Father to sanctify his followers in the truth, stating, "Your word is truth." In other words, Jesus digs the truth, man. He doesn't follow it. He is it. Jesus doesn't adhere to truth. He defines truth. He doesn't go seeking for it. It is found in him. Jesus, very high on the truth. What about the left? I'm glad you asked. The left practices the philosophy of post-truth. These post-truth adherents view facts as irrelevant or less important than individual feelings, political agendas, social causes, and emotional appeals when it comes to considering a truth claim. Could the left and Jesus Christ be more diametrically opposed when it comes to the issue of truth? Not a chance. I cannot think of an example where the left doesn't mean unbiblical. The realm of politics, the realm of morals, in education, anytime a cause or a movement or a philosophy has the word left attached to it, it always, I think, means unbiblical. biblical. Number 4 from Robin, Jesus prescribed peace. The left prescribes violence. Blessed are the peacemakers, said Jesus, for they will be called the sons of God. The Prince of Peace never directed his disciples to act violently towards those who disagreed with his teachings. Jesus was about and is about peace. Does Jesus go to war? Yes, he does, by necessity. But his nature is peaceful. But when he is provoked to wrath, he will go to war. Why? Because he loves justice. And so we cannot deny that Jesus Christ never goes to battle. But that isn't what he is about. Jesus came to ultimately bring peace between man and God, and ultimately his death on a cross will bring peace forever, where there will never be strife. On the other hand, you have a completely different attitude by the left. I think you'll recall this fresh memory. Consider the French Revolution and the summer riots. You can go back in time and see the left is violent. And you can look just recently in summer events to see, whoa, people who are liberal are willing to burn down buildings, to trash people's private property, all justified in their mind because of their liberal cause. Number 5, Jesus practiced loving enemies and forgiveness. The left hates and never forgives. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how many times shall my brother sin against me and I still forgive him? Up to 7 times? Jesus said, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. There's a whole lot of forgiveness going on in Christianity, but there are 2 words that define the left and their attitude toward forgiveness. Cancel culture. It does not matter if you are the most popular celebrity on the planet. You make one misstep and you are out of here. Not 3 strikes. 1 strike, you are out in the cancel culture of the left. One more distinction. Jesus taught servanthood. The left aspires to power. Jesus said, the greatest of you shall be your servant. And who modeled servanthood better than anyone? Nobody else but Jesus Christ. The Lord of Lords did not come to be served, but to serve others, taking on human flesh, living in a backwater village in a backwards era so that he could march to a cross to die for sinners. Jesus serves. The left, not so much. From Robin Shoemaker, the left has no interest in serving, but rather in being served as those who are in power. The French Revolution, 1789, pursued absolute power. And perhaps you've lamented, yikes, it seems that so much of what the left does is just to stay in power. Your observation is probably correct. Why? Because the left is about power. Jesus is about serving. That is why liberalism has always dragged the church down. Furthermore, it can become so watered down, it drags souls down into hell. That is why you should not be shamed or scolded for being arrogant, thinking you know everything, being so uptight and judgmental. We are truth people with a high view of God, a high view of the Bible, a high view of the truth. Oh, don't worry. Your cake is going to be ready for your baby shower. Just putting the finishing touches on it now. Perfect. Yes, ma'am. You can pick it up at noon. It's just